Hello, chat. Welcome in, everyone. Happy Monday to you. Hopefully your week's starting off okay. Welcome in, M1. Happy to see you, Nan Reader. Hello, Zeeks. What's happening, JK? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Bubby? What's Bubby? Welcome in. I got you the first time, but that was beautiful. Welcome, Will. Make sure half of it cancels out. Nice. Yeah, grinder is huge when it comes to you wanting to have, like, if you're just interested in good old coffee, which is mostly what I'm doing, you don't really need it, but if you really want to get into fresher coffee flavors, you want to get into the fermented fruitier coffees and stuff like that, it's definitely big time game changer because it just ages so quickly after you grind it. The other problem with the one that I have is I just throw a whole bag in there at a time, and it's not airtight. You know, it's not keeping those beans as nicely sealed as they would have been in the bag. But I don't want to go through the hassle of, okay, weigh out individual shot, grind individual shot. Welcome in, Splits. I am creamless tonight, chat. So we're going with just sugary black coffee tonight. Zeke's, you're reminding me of an April Fool's video I saw. Yeah, I can't go on forever, Splits. Nah, it's... what is it? Whatever coffee. And it's essentially a situation where the animals don't really enjoy eating them, but they will. And so they can strain them against their will and give them nothing but the beans to eat and live on. They do not live very well. Like, I have much less of a problem with foie gras than I do with that. Like, foie gras, birds naturally gorge themselves during times of the year. It's something they would do to a certain degree. We're pushing it, but something to a degree they would naturally be doing anyways. I think I could have done a better job of it than I did. But chicken fried steak. I could have done a better job on that fry. I could have done... There's a couple of things I could have done better with that, I think. Not that I would have changed... The number one thing I would have changed is I would have used more flour than I did. Yeah, I double coated it, but at the same time, I was sort of light on my second coat, and yeah, it was... I didn't feel like adding more flour into the mix, but it really should have used more flour. No sexy cream swirl shot tonight. Thank you all for joining me tonight, chat. I appreciate it. Happy Monday to you all. Cheers. Oh, it was delicious. It was delicious as leftovers the next day, too. You know, I actually don't even really miss the half and half there. I usually want just a touch, but that's doing okay all on its own. Are we defrosted here now, chicken? Awesome. So we're going to start with marinating. Marinating / majority of the seasoning for our chicken. Had to pull this out of the chest freezer because I put everything in the chest freezer. I saw that, M1. They've been working on a number of them. Let's not bother with that. We're going to need soy. We're going to need lemon. as you're saying that, M1, over on YouTube, the dad joke in YouTube was the urge to sing the Lion King song is just a whim away. Sentient. You know, that's gone. I took out 2/3 of it that night, and the last of it for lunch today. Including all of the rolls. The rolls I normally, like, usually there's one, that didn't quite get done with the rolls. Went through all those. Didn't go through all the wine. So I might finish off that wine bottle tonight. I do like me some beef stew. Alright, so we got all that soy and lemon in there. Now we're going to have to add in a bit of ginger. Sichuan peppercorn, which I should probably crush up a bit. And what else did I say I was going to throw in there? Oh, cayenne. It was delicious. As long as you cook the beef long enough, and all that was just, like, could it have been softer and more fall apart? Maybe. It was still delicious. So, in with a bit of cayenne. A little bit. Meaning a bit heavier than usual. Yeah, 60 portions. That's like... I went to a small college for culinary before I went to the Culinary Institute of America. And at that small school, everything they were teaching us was for like massive cafeteria size. Like, we were feeding armies there. Ginger. Oh, hey, chat. You might want to see that, huh? There we go. So we got cayenne, we got ginger in there, and we've got Sichuan peppercorns, which I'm going to put into a bag and do a little crushy with. But they were like 60-person portion. They were like 400 pans of mac and cheese. Like, it was not complex stuff either. Alright, so these are Sichuan peppercorns, which these are brown or red brown. Ideally, you want green ones, but the green ones you probably aren't going to really find outside of China. I don't know, maybe they're grown in a few other places in Asia, the Asia area, but regardless, you're not going to find them very far from where they were grown, is what I'm getting at. So most of the stuff that I've seen in the US has been brown, although we had green stuff when I was in Sichuan. In Chengdu, which is Sichuan capital. So we'll give those a crush up and throw those in there. They're partially a numbing effect. They actually, I think they stimulate some sort of like electrical reaction on your tongue. You'll have to search that one. Something along that line. Do some black pepper in here too. Oh, and definitely MSG. Work it all around. Try and get most of it to drain down to that half. We'll let it sit over there. We need second bag for our asparagus. Actually, I'm a little annoyed that splits. I'm talking about the highest position eat the same things we do. I'm actually a little annoyed that our president eats so poorly. Like, it used to be a major thing for, like, there's vineyards out here in Sonoma that for ages, you know, like we're served at the White House, we're served at the special events. Now, bleh. Now you have the big regal events for all the heads of state that come in, and you know, major dinners with them with all the sort of things, you know. Now he just wants to serve him McDonald's. That was not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to put soy on there. I didn't want soy on these. After carefully drying them before. Hefty amount of lemon juice. I would say that's at least half a lemon in there. But that's actually, I think, something that current culture, current belief, current thoughts on consumerism is sort of fighting. Like, the whole world of Europe is doing its best to try and preserve it, but of terroir, of where things are sourced or where they come from, and that is crucial to the product that you get resulting out of it. There is so much in the soil, there's so much in the air that changes things from one location to another. And when we want everything to just be producible in mass on location, you know, we want to grow things under lamps in inner city, rather than truck them in from being grown properly in the ground. Like, you can make food that way, but is it better? I don't think so. It's just a sort of continuation of my complaining about how so few different varieties of vegetables actually make it to the supermarket. So, after I messed up by pouring a bunch of soy on these and rinsing that off, there's probably a little soy still in there with some water. There is lemon juice and balsamic in there now. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better of a system promoting, you know, products that if they aren't producible in the UK itself, you know, you're maybe getting Australian lamb. They can certainly handle the wild mushrooms and the risotto. I'm not sure what... I'm sure they produce, to a certain degree, some of their own meats in England. I have no idea how big or small their meat production is. You want to talk about losing in the markets? Australia is just getting whomped. Because they're stuck between the US and China, and both of them are being like, no. I'm laughing, I shouldn't laugh. But alright, so we got this and that going. Let's get some flavor together for some rice. Hi, chap. Jasmine or wild rice, chat? I don't know why you're not following me, camera. Jasmine? That's certainly a possibility. I've done coronation chicken on stream before, I believe. Actually reminding me that I haven't been drinking enough lately. I'm supposed to be drinking tons and tons and tons and tons of water. So this is the bag of stock that I just threw in the fridge rather than freezing. Fat and all. So that was approximately 3 cups there. And I added enough water to make it 4. I think that's good for the rice. Those are some big boy cloves. Just lost half of that one though. If I was pushing chat, this dinner could easily be a 20-minute dinner. Just putting that out there. We're chilling, we're relaxing, we're having some fun making dinner. Nice, Nan Reader. Olive oil in the pan. Because I still haven't gone out. I didn't go out for this dinner at all. Immediately turn the flame down a bit because I'm not looking to heavily cook this, but we do want to lightly cook it through. Get a little color on it. And probably use even more oil in there because the oil is going to help distribute it into the rest. Stop. Why'd my earbud stop? Huh. What happened there? Quick break in audio, chat. There. That's a little better. I don't know if that changed anything on your end, chat, other than maybe a little blip of no audio. For some reason my earbud decided to disconnect and reconnect. At least I think that was what happened. These ones have treated me well. It likes to try and... It doesn't perfectly sit in my ear, but, you know, I've had ones that sit in my ear better than these do, so yeah. But they were $30. What was the name of these again? Ear Fun? At this point, I think they've lasted longer than the Samsung ones I had before that, which were, you know, Samsung, so whatever they cost. How we looking, garlic? We there yet? They're probably 40, 50 bucks now. But, well, actually now, who knows what they cost. This was the wrong tool for this job. I should have grabbed one of these because I'm going to use it anyways. So now this is dirty when I could have used this the whole time. Ugh. There was a recent article I read where they were talking about adding translation into AirPods, which the number of people using AirPods, that'd be a pretty major, you know, change in translation and people being able to understand each other, regardless of Google having had it for like a decade already. But so we'll add our garlic and olive oil in with our chicken stock. Yeah, that's been a decent change, and, well, yes and no. The idea that you don't have to have a prescription to get an hearing aid is nice. The idea that they're now going to be probably heavily commercialized, not so cool. But you can see now in here, you can see the oil droplets in the top of the surface there. They're a little hard to see as far as the camera's concerned, but they're there. Let's get our oven heating up here. Yeah, I don't know what the prices are. Yeah. They couldn't have been cheap as prescription, but now we're going to have, you know, all of the 1% cases disappear versus just the general purpose hearing aid and things like that. Sort of like the case for, you know, you get rid of the UPS, you get rid of the Postal Service in the US. You live in Timbuktu, get ready for delivery costs. Hell, if you live on the wrong side of the river, get ready for it. Alright, so we've got this goodness here. I want to wait until we get the chicken in the oven until we start with the rice. But we'll get that off of the cutting board. Maybe. I have to see how the rest of the week plays out. Do I do asparagus in the pan or in the oven, chat? I'm leaning towards in the pan. The chicken's gonna go in the oven. I already cleaned that out and dried it. I could have, yes. Do I want to go this way with that? Yeah, let's go that way with that. A little tight for those two, but I'm not going to use the medium size. I'm not going to go up a size. And I'm going to reserve the rest of the liquid that didn't stay attached to it. This is going to go in the sauce in the end, so we're going to use this. But we're not using it right now. Make sure that doesn't leak all over the table here. I am going to splash these with a bit of oil over the top. And why not? We'll do some fine salt. Alright, those are ready to go in the oven when the oven comes to temp. I'm actually going to up the temp. I'm sitting here thinking about it. We're going to do 425 instead of 400 for the chicken. And I'm good on coffee for tonight, I think. Oops. Oop, last minute idea. Let's see how this held up overnight. Usually does not do well, and it's definitely going to have to come up to room temp. It's a little deceptive, chat. That's a big glass. That's a glass that can, if you want to over pour it, you can fit a whole bottle into that glass. It's one of those glasses. That was about 2 glasses worth of wine, if not 3, somewhere in there. We'll let that come up to room temp before I try and sip on that. But in other news, I got scared of... I bought myself a... It cost me relatively cheap, but there's a reason things are cheap sometimes. I bought myself a hard drive rack, or a JBOD, just a bunch of discs. And I bought that thinking... Yeah, I can tie in all of my old drives in there, see what I'm missing from my old stuff, if anything, that I can pull out of that, and then use it for proper storage, because, I mean, they're all ancient drives, but they're still working. The real problem is they're going to be all different sizes and stuff like that, which is not going to be fun. The thing that happened after that, though, was I got that in the house. I started researching what I had bought. And it's coming from a Chinese company that was using it for financial stuff in Ukraine. And I'm sort of like, do I really want to hook this up to my existing NAS and risk it screwing up everything else on there? And so now I've gone out and bought myself a Raspberry Pi 5 with a hat on it that will handle a PCI slot so that I can run a JBOD off of a Raspberry Pi, at least to test it. I can't help it. I'm going in for a sip, even though it's cold. It still smells delicious cold. Hey, they can see me. Hi, Cosmic. We're currently waiting on the stove to heat up on everything. I'm preheating the oven to 425. We've got our chicken back here already marinated and seasoned, ready to go in the oven. I've got the leftover marinade for a pan sauce over here. Got a pan already oiled for our asparagus. Got our asparagus hanging out over here on the cutting board with lemon and balsamic. You got chicken stock with garlic and some olive oil that I infused by cooking the garlic in it. So it's going to be the chicken stock I made on Sunday that's only been refrigerated, never been frozen, so it should have real primo flavor. And then with a heavy garlic. And that's going to go with our rice that's already measured out here. The last thing here, as I have these shiitakes, I just decided last minute that I am going to throw a couple shiitakes in with the pan sauce. So that was the oven coming to temp. Let's throw the chicken in. We'll start heating up our water, or chicken stock with a little bit of water, garlic and oil. Start heating that up for our rice. Do I add garlic to the sauce? I don't have garlic on chicken. I think I'm going to leave it off because we got the garlic with the rice. Oh, dad joke. I'm torn on Minecraft movie again. Like, on one hand, I want to see the memes and stuff. On the other hand, the reviews have been ugh. The other interesting and exciting bit of news from the other day is while I was trying to figure out that whole thing with the JBOD, was I discovered that I have for years owned a rock pie. Like, it's one of the first generation rock pies. And, well, it's not a first gen, but it's one of the original fourth version of the rock pies, which is sort of a copy of the Raspberry Pi 4 at the time. I thought that thing was dead. Like, I had spent several days toying with that thing, trying to get it to work. I just couldn't get an SD card into it to run anything. I went about it a little bit differently. I got a different download this time than I think I did last time. Certainly, it's been a couple of years, so it's definitely a different version. Everything booted up, and it's running fine. So that was originally going to be a NAS for me. And I was going to buy drives for that. I don't think I'm going to be buying drives for that, but that's a possibility now, too. That sort of has a max capacity of 20 terabytes, though. So it can't be... I might be able to squeeze a little bit more on there with the M.2 slot, but it's basically a 20 terabyte max setup. That maybe could be good for, like, backing up the computers and take that off of the NAS, but I don't know what else I would really use that for. I might use that for my own local dumb AI. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with it now that it's working after all these years. I'm going to use a sheet pan to cover up the garlic and stock cooking in lieu of having a proper lid for it. Oh, they require, well, you're only going to get the dumbest of ones running on a Raspberry Pi. There's some of them that you can get going on them. It's not going to be, like, you need, like, GPUs for AI. As I see it, if I went along with it, it would be more of a, I'm going to use this for the general everyday dumb questions that I don't want the rest of the world to know I'm asking. And then for the stuff that really needs actual thinking behind it, I'll probably still go back to the real ones. I'd have to study more into it. I don't know enough about it. There's actually probably people in chat that know more about it than me. There's certainly people in chat who think they know more about it than me. I think that's maybe pushing out enough steam now. We got that bubbling? Yeah. Let's go ahead and throw our rice in. Butter. Because everything's better with butter. So our rice be cooking now. And put a lid back on top of that. Hey, Alex. Happy Monday to you. Hopefully you've had a good one. Ooh, that's a new high emoji. Who's that? Oh, it's yours. Nice. This still isn't warm enough, chat. I'm still drinking it. getting much smoother as I allow it to warm up, though. We back to a full boil here with our rice. Smelling like we are. Yeah. I am going to give that a stir. Just a quick once around, just to make sure there's no big pile of rice on the bottom. Put that lid on top just for a moment to help build up a bit of steam. And then we cut the heat on that and let that sit 10 minutes. For those that were confused by the process of making rice. I am going to need a plate for resting our chicken, because that's not going to happen in the pan. I'm one great plate find away from getting rid of these old purple plates. They're so scratched up and marked up and scarred. Didn't see anything the last time I went thrifting. We are going to use the tool that I bought last time thrifting on Friday, though. Well, if I find some nice fish to put in it, but hoping to do a fish poach on Friday. The heck is that? Weird internet articles. I'm not going to talk about that. Yeah. Isn't it weird how it's on everyone's internet? You just can't get rid of it. Got another 2.5 minutes on our chicken. till we give it a first check-in. I raised the temps mostly because I usually do this at 400 on a wire rack. I gave it the extra 25 degrees because I put it in a cast iron pan, figuring the pan has to heat up, and thin wire rack doesn't take much to heat. Are we all ready for Trump to be mad at Iran to, make everyone forget about everything else going on in the world? This is fine. Nothing problem. No problem. Let's take a look at our chicken. How we looking, chicken? I'm gonna give you a temp, chicken, because I don't trust you to be done. Where's the dimple? I'm gonna give those a little bit longer. Guess the temp? What do we think it is, chat? What's our temp here? Can you see it on the camera? Can you expand it that well? $130 is pretty close. It's in the 130 mark. That's a little bit of a bad sign there. We don't want that happening. That would be not clear juices. So that's going back in for another 10. Welcome in, Aaron. Ah, I'd be sweating in here even though it's not that hot. I don't know why. Let's open the window for a minute. Ordered fried chicken at airport recently. Yep. I've worked with all sorts of people that have done stuff like that. That's how you do, like, majority of the places that I've worked that do fried chicken fingers, like, if they're nice about it, they'll sit there and, like, twist them or angle them so they can break into them without looking like they break into them. If they're busy, they're just... Is that done? Okay. Ooh, hot sauce. What kind? What's your pepperage? You growing your own peppers? Doing your own ferments? What's your secret spice? Not even lacto ferment? Non-traditional. Okay. Yeah, I'm unfamiliar with Thai dragons. There's all sorts of peppers out there, though. Alex, yeah. My biggest problem with airport chicken is the last time I went to buy airport chicken, I went to 3 different chicken places in the airport and none of them were open. I was stuck somewhere for a while. I think it was... Was it Salt Lake? Giant airport, just wide, like, all over the place. Like, there's huge connections between the terminals of that place. Gonna finish my wine before dinner's ready. Hi, Blake. Throw some eye drops in my eyes. My eyes are all itchy. Much better. Now it looks like I'm crying. So we've had our 10 minutes on our rice. Let's see what our rice is looking like here. Excuse me. We have rice with garlic. It smells amazing. Garlic and chicken. Add some salt to that here now. Might need a bit more salt. That'll do. Why am I putting that over there with dirty stuff? We can keep that stuff. Mushrooms and butter for with the sauce. Wish I had a little white wine for finishing, for just... Maybe we can do brandy. I have all sorts of cognac in the house that I haven't opened too, but... brandy will be fine, I think. And put this back over in the stove and put the lid back on it so it doesn't completely dry out. Because it's not a smart plan. Camera? You're not following me. Is annoying me lately. As I was saying, always a good plan to not pour directly from the bottle into a flaming pan when you do hard liquors. You know, the idea of having... Let's put it this way, chat. You don't want to set off your own Molotov cocktail in the house. Pour it into another container before you put it in the pan. Especially if you're doing like Everclear. White Lightning. Whatever. Alright, attempt number 2 at our chicken. Should have left the trivet out. Oh yeah, now we're looking good. Now we're looking good. I'm trusting that. without even having to look at it further. So we're going to take those out of the pan. Oh yeah, those are cooked. Move the rice off to the side. Alright, flame over here on the stove on both sides. Add our mushrooms into the party. Hey, egg. Flames. Flames, chat. There's flames. This is fine. Half cup of water in there. The remains of our marinade and all the spices that went in with our chicken. We'll bring that up to a boil. Got a nice pan over here for our asparagus now. We'll throw our asparagus in there. Going to cornstarch slurry our gravy tonight because a roux would take too long. But waste not, want not with the brandy. A little cold water. Make sure it's cold water on our tap. That's good on our thickening. Bit of salt on our asparagus. Asparagus coming out of the pan. Heat off over there. And then we're going to half lazy, half quick strain our sauce here. Ah! And that gets finished with a bit of butter. You notice how the butter actually thickened that up just a touch more at the end? Beautiful how butter does that. Alright, so how are we plating this? Are we going for the tower o' rice? Or am I just going to layer some in there? I think I'm just going to layer some in there. It wasn't hugely sticky. Let's see what we're at like now. Yeah. I could maybe get that to form nicely, but I'm not going to bother. Thank you for the follow. Off, 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 off. Off on the oven. Delicious. A little more lemony than I expected, although there's a decent amount of lemon in it. Sort of feel like I should have something sprinkled over the top of that. Like, it almost deserves some sort of herb, if only for color. I don't really got much that I want to throw on there, though. So I think we're going to leave that just like that. And so there we have it, folks. There is dinner for this lovely Monday evening. Appreciate you coming to hang out with me tonight. Let's take a quick look over here on the Discord. Come on, mouse. Work with me. Work with me, mouse. It was a close one this week, chat. But potatoes have won out for tomorrow, or for Wednesday. Wednesday night, gonna be doing dinner and dessert using potatoes. So close on the egg rolls. Egg rolls were actually one of my suggestions, so that was the pain I was trying to cause myself there, chat. I had no idea what I would do with egg rolls if I had gotten that, but thankfully you all chose potatoes instead. And so we'll have a new vote up there, hopefully tonight if I remember later. Sometime soon. For next week. And potatoes on Wednesday, chat. Friday we're doing poached fish. I forget what we got in the schedule for Sunday. What do we got coming up on Sunday? Oh, yogurt fried chicken. Gonna be doing chicken marinated in yogurt, really thick batter using yogurt and flour instead of buttermilk. That is the plans for Sunday. I hope you come back to join me for all of it. Had a good one tonight, chat. It was a good stream. Appreciate you hanging out with me. I hope you have a great rest of your work week. See you on Wednesday. Good night.